Hello my friend, welcome to this moment of quiet. Before we begin our journey upwards, before we leave the ground and explore the vastness of the universe, I want you to take a moment to settle into where you are right now. Look around you. You are in your room. It is a space that you know well, a sanctuary that you have built for yourself. This is your launch pad. It is safe here. The walls around you are solid, protecting you from the wind and the weather. The floor beneath your feet or the bed beneath your back is steady. It is holding you up, supported by the strength of the building which rests deep within the soil of our planet. Take a deep breath in. Fill your lungs with the air of this room. It is familiar air. Now let that breath out slowly. With that breath, let go of the rush of the day. Think about the hours that have just passed. The day is often filled with noise. It is a time of bright lights, of demands, of endless movement. During the day, the sun hangs high and commands our attention, revealing every detail, every flaw, and every task that needs to be done. The world moves fast under the sunlight. Cars rush by, phones ring. People talk over one another, and our minds race to keep up with it all. It can be exhausting to live in that constant state of doing, of fixing, of answering. But now things are changing. Can you feel it? The Earth has turned. It has spun on its axis slowly and steadily, turning your part of the world away from the sun. The blinding light has faded, replaced by the softer, gentler shadows of the evening. This is the threshold of night. It is not an end, but a transition. It is nature's way of telling you that the time for doing is over, and the time for being has begun. Imagine you are standing by your window looking out. What do you see? Perhaps you see the silhouette of trees against a darkening blue sky. Perhaps you see the glow of streetlights flickering on one by one like little amber islands in a sea of grey. The sounds of the world are changing too. The aggressive roar of heavy traffic settles down into a distant rhythmic hum. The birds that sang so loudly this morning have returned to their nests, tucking their heads under their wings. A different kind of life is waking up the crickets, the night breeze rustling the leaves, but this life is quieter, slower. It is a lullaby. Look up. Above the rooftops, above the trees, the sky is transforming. It is no longer that flat, bright blue sheet of the afternoon. It is deepening. It is becoming a vast velvet curtain. Depending on where you are, you might see the moon. Think of the moon as an old friend. It has been circling our planet for billions of years, watching over the dinosaurs, the first humans, and now you. It reflects the light of the sun back to us, a gentle reminder that the light is never truly gone, even when we cannot see the source. If you look closely, you might see the first star appearing. It is a tiny point of light, fighting through the remaining glow of the sunset and the haze of the city. That single point of light has travelled for years, perhaps centuries, just to reach your eye tonight. It is a greeting from the cosmos. It is inviting you to look bigger, to look further. But before we go there, we must lighten the load you're carrying. Gravity is a powerful force. It keeps our feet on the ground, which is good, but sometimes we carry a different kind of gravity inside us. We carry the weight of worry. We carry the heaviness of what if and I should have. I invite you now to visualize these heavy things. Imagine every email you didn't send, every awkward conversation, every deadline, and every worry about tomorrow. Imagine they are heavy stones in your pockets. They are pulling you down into the mattress or the chair. They are heavy and they are cold. Now imagine you are taking them out one by one. You're placing them in a box by the door of your room. You don't have to destroy them. You just don't need to bring them with you on this journey. Leave them there. They will be there when you get back if you really want them. But for now, you are free of them. Feel your body getting lighter. Feel your shoulders drop away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. Let your hands rest open. You are becoming lighter than air. The night is not something to fear. Ancient humans used to be afraid of the dark because they could not see what was hiding in the shadows. But you are safe. You are protected. For us tonight, the darkness is a canvas. Without the dark, we could never see the stars. Without the silence, we could never hear our own thoughts or the whispers of the universe. The night is a gift. It wraps around the earth like a cool blanket, giving the soil, the plants, and the animals a chance to rest and repair. It is doing the same for you. As you look out into the deepening night, realize that you are standing on the edge of a great ocean. But this is not an ocean of water. It is an ocean of space. The atmosphere of Earth, the air we breathe, is like a thin, fragile shell protecting us. Right now, you are safe inside that shell, warm and comfortable. But just above you, the sky opens up into infinity. There is no ceiling to your room tonight. In your imagination, the roof lifts away effortlessly. The walls expand. You are no longer confined by the geometry of your house. You are sitting in the open theatre of the galaxy. The air around you feels crisp and clean. It smells of rain, of damp earth, and of starlight. Do you feel that anticipation in your chest? It is not anxiety. It is the flutter of excitement. It is the feeling of sitting in an airplane as it taxis to the runway, or the feeling of a swing just before you push off the ground. We are preparing to leave the familiar behind. We are preparing to drift up away from the concrete, away from the noise, away from the gravity of daily life. You are safe. You are warm. You are tethered to the earth by love and by gravity, so you cannot get lost. But your mind is free to fly. The engines of your imagination are humming quietly, ready for takeoff. The night sky is waiting for you with open arms. It is vast, silent, and peaceful. Let the silence of the room sink into your bones. Let the warmth of your space comfort you. You are exactly where you need to be. The day is done, the noise has stopped, the threshold is open. Are you ready? Let us begin our ascent. The shaking finally stops. For the last few minutes, the world was nothing but noise and violent vibration, a roaring beast trying to shake me off its back. But now the engines cut out. The heavy hand of gravity which has been pressing down on my chest suddenly lifts. I am no longer pinned to my seat. My arms float upward, weightless and free like seaweed swaying in an ocean current. A pencil which I had dropped during the ascent drifts past my eyes, spinning slowly in the air. I look out the reinforced glass of the viewport. The transition is complete. We have not just gone high, we have left the room entirely. The blue ceiling of the sky has been pulled back like a curtain to reveal the true stage in endless deep velvet black. It is darker than any night I have ever known on the ground. On Earth the night is a blanket, here it is a bottomless pit. But it is not scary, it feels spacious. It feels like a deep breath. We drift outward, coasting on the momentum of our departure. The first landmark of our journey approaches in the silence, the moon. From the surface of Earth it always looked like a glowing lantern or a silver coin. Up close, however, it is a completely different world. It is a magnificent grey ruin. I see the craters, clearly vast scars left by rocks that hit the surface millions of years ago. There is no wind to smooth them over, no rain to wash them away. It is a silent, frozen history book. As we glide past the moon, I feel a strange sense of intimacy with it. It is not glowing now, it is just rock and dust hanging suspended in the dark. It looks lonely, but in a dignified way, like an old statue guarding the gates of a palace. We pass its grey horizon, and for the first time I turn my head to look back at where I came from. The view catches in my throat Earth. It is not a map, it is not a globe in a classroom. It is a glowing jewel, vibrant and alive against the dead blackness. It looks so fragile from here. I can see the swirling white clouds, the deep blue of the oceans, and the browns and greens of the land. It is hard to believe that every person I have ever met, every history book ever written, every war, every song and every breakfast I have ever eaten happened on that tiny fragile ball. As we move faster, it begins to shrink. It goes from the size of a beach ball to a grapefruit to a marble. A profound quiet settles over the ship. This is the first taste of the soothing loneliness. It is the realization that I am untethering from everything I know, yet I do not feel panic. I feel light. We leave the inner warmth of the solar system and venture into the dark gap between the worlds. Time seems to lose its meaning here. There is no day or night, only the constant unblinking stare of the distant stars. We are a tiny speck of metal floating in a void so large the human mind cannot truly comprehend it. Then the king arrives, Jupiter. Pictures do not do it justice. As we approach the giant planet, the first thing that strikes me is the sheer terrifying size of it. It dominates the entire view at a massive wall of clouds that could swallow 1,000 Earths. The colours are not flat, they are deep and churning. Bands of cream, burnt orange and brick red wrap around the planet. I see the great red spot, a storm that has been raging for hundreds of years. It looks like a giant unblinking eye watching us. Even though I know the radiation outside is deadly and the storms are violent from inside my silent ship, Jupiter looks peaceful. It is majesty in its purest form. It commands respect simply by existing. We use its gravity to sling us forward, stealing a little bit of its energy to push us deeper into the dark. Weeks or perhaps months later, it is hard to tell without a calendar, we reach Saturn. If Jupiter was the king, Saturn is the crown jewel. It looks artificial, like a drawing made by a perfectionist. The planet itself is a soft, buttery gold, but the rings are the masterpiece. Up close I can see they are not solid. They are made of billions of pieces of ice and rock ranging from the size of a grain of sand to the size of a house. They catch the distant sunlight and sparkle. Passing Saturn, the sense of isolation grows, but it remains gentle. The light from the sun is weaker here. It is no longer the blinding furnace we see from Earth. It is just a very bright star, smaller and colder. The shadows in the ship grow longer and deeper. The warmth is fading, replaced by the chill of the deep void. We drift past the icy giants Uranus and Neptune, but they are distant blue ghosts in the darkness. We are moving toward the limit. We are approaching the heliosphere. This is the invisible border. It is the edge of the sun's influence. It is where the wind that blows from the sun crashes against the gas and dust of the space between the stars. It is the harbour mouth. Behind me is the solar system, my home, a collection of rocks and gas balls huddled around a dying fire. Ahead of me is the open ocean of interstellar space. Crossing this boundary feels spiritual. The instruments show the magnetic field shifting and the density of the particles dropping, but to my eyes it is just a deepening of the dark. The silence here is absolute. It is not the silence of an empty room, it is the silence of eternity. I float in the centre of the cabin, closing my eyes. There is no up or down. There is no heavy pull of blood to my feet. My heart beats slowly, calm and steady. I am millions of miles from the nearest human being, yet I do not feel lost. I feel stripped of all the noise, all the traffic, all the demands of daily life. There is only the ship, the stars, and the endless inviting velvet of the universe. I am a sailor who has finally left the bay. The water is deep, the shore is gone, and the horizon stretches out forever. It is a loneliness that does not hurt. It heals. It is the peace of being a single weightless atom drifting in the grand, beautiful design of the cosmos. The view from the deep. From this distant vantage point, the structure of our home becomes clear. We are not looking up at a band of light across a night sky anymore. We are outside of it, looking down. Before us lies the Milky Way, the Silver River. It appears as a magnificent glowing disk suspended in the endless dark. It is vast beyond comprehension, stretching over 100,000 light-years from one side to the other. It looks like a grand plate made of light or a potter's wheel spinning in slow motion. The edges are soft and fading while the centre burns with a fierce golden intensity. From here you can understand why the ancients called it a river. It flows. It is not a solid object but a stream of hundreds of billions of stars all moving together in a cosmic current. It looks like milk spilled across a black table or a river of silver dust flowing through the night. The spiral arms wrap around the centre like the petals of a giant flower painted in shades of icy blue and violet. These are the arms where new stars are born, burning hot and bright with youth. Entering the stream, we begin our descent into the disk. As we approach the spiral arms, the density of the space changes. It is not empty here. We pass through vast clouds of interstellar dust and gas. In scientific terms, this is the material for future suns, but to our eyes it looks like dark smoke and glowing mist. Some of these clouds are dark, blocking the light behind them like heavy curtains. Others glow with a ghostly red or green light, excited by the energy of nearby stars. Floating through these nebulas feels like flying through a storm of silent lightning. It is chaotic yet incredibly slow. As we move deeper into the Silver River, the sense of motion becomes real. We realize that every single point of light we see is moving. We are caught in the great rotation of the galaxy. It takes the sun nearly 250 million years to complete just one lap around this track. It is a timescale so long that mountains on Earth would rise and fall to dust before one circle is complete. Yet here in the stream there is a sense of rhythm. We are drifting in a river of light that has been flowing for billions of years. The journey to the heart. We steer our course away from the blue outer arms and head toward the centre. This is a journey into the past. The outer edges of the galaxy are the suburbs filled with young, energetic and sometimes violent blue stars. But as we move inward, the colours change. The blue fades away, replaced by yellow, orange and deep red. We are entering the galactic bulge. This is the old city centre of the Milky Way. The stars here are ancient. They have been burning since the early days of the universe. They are the elders of our galaxy, glowing with a warm, steady light. The crowd thickens. In our own neighbourhood, stars are far apart like two lonely ships in a vast ocean. But here near the core, the stars are packed closer together. If you lived on a planet around a star here, your night sky would not be black. It would be a blazing tapestry of thousands of bright suns so bright that you could read a book at midnight by starlight alone. The dance of the ancients. We have reached the central region. The scene is overwhelmingly beautiful. Millions of old red giant stars are gathered here. They are massive swollen stars nearing the end of their lives, glowing like hot coals. Because the gravity is so strong here, the stars move faster. They do not float lazily like they do in the outer arms. They dance. They swing around the centre in tight, fast loops. It is a cosmic ballroom where the dancers are suns whirling in a complex gravity-powered waltz. At the very centre, hidden behind thick veils of dust, lies the dark heart of the galaxy, a supermassive object millions of times the mass of our Sun. We do not need to see it to know it is there. We see its influence in the frantic speed of the stars racing around it. It is the anchor of the Silver River, the heavy stone that keeps the stream flowing in its circle. Despite the extreme forces at work, the intense gravity, the radiation, the speed, the feeling is not one of danger. It is a feeling of grand order. The stars do not crash into each other. They flow past one another. It is a balanced, elegant system that has survived for eons. Floating in light, floating here bathed in the golden glow of a billion ancient suns, the feeling of isolation vanishes. In the empty void outside the galaxy, we felt small and alone. But here inside the Silver River, we feel connected. We realize that the atoms in our bodies, the calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood were forged in stars like these. We are not just travelers looking at the river. We are part of the river. We are stardust that has come alive to look at itself. The view is overwhelming. Up, down, left and right, there is no darkness, only layers of light. It is like being submerged in a pool of gold. The sheer sail of it forces the mind to stop thinking and just feel. There is no noise, no wind, no rush. Just the silent, majestic rotation of the galaxy. It is a peaceful surrender. We are just one tiny speck drifting in a river of diamond and gold, held safe by gravity, slowly turning in the dark. The Silver River flows on, carrying us with it, a timeless journey through the beautiful bright night. Space is often described as a lonely place. When we look up at the night sky, we see vast stretches of darkness, and it's easy to feel like our home, the Milky Way, is an island drifting alone in an endless black ocean. But this is not the truth. Just as people live in houses, and houses belong to neighbourhoods, our galaxy is part of a family. We are not alone in the void. We are part of a beautiful gravitational gathering known as the local group. The local group is our cosmic address. It is a collection of more than 50 galaxies all bound together in a region of space that stretches across 10 million light-years. It is a busy, bustling corner of the universe. While the rest of the universe is expanding and galaxies are moving further apart from one another, our neighbourhood is different. Here, the space between us is not growing. Instead, we are held together by an invisible, powerful embrace. This embrace is gravity acting like a cosmic glue that keeps this family close. Inside this group, there is a hierarchy. There are the small, quiet dwarf galaxies, and then there are the giants. The Milky Way is one of the two largest members of this club, but we are not the biggest. That title belongs to our massive sister, the Andromeda Galaxy. The loyal companions. Before we look at our giant sister, we must look at our smaller companions. If you were to stand in the southern hemisphere of Earth and look up on a clear, dark night, you would see two glowing smudges in the sky. They look like detached pieces of the Milky Way floating freely. These are the Magellanic Clouds. There is the large Magellanic Cloud and the small Magellanic Cloud. They are not clouds in the way we think of weather on Earth. They are dwarf galaxies beaming with the light of billions of stars. They are our closest neighbours orbiting the Milky Way just as the Moon orbits the Earth. They are like faithful pets or perhaps younger siblings dancing around us. This relationship is not passive. There is a physical connection between us. A long ribbon of gas known as the Magellanic Stream trails behind them like a tail. It is a bridge of matter connecting them to us, a sign of the gravitational conversation happening between our galaxies. Over billions of years, the heavy gravity of the Milky Way has been slowly pulling at them, shaping them, and triggering the birth of new stars within their chaotic clouds. It is a slow, circling dance that has lasted for eons. The giant sister. However, the most dramatic partner in this cosmic dance is not the small clouds, but the giant spiral galaxy known as Andromeda or M31. If the Milky Way is our house, Andromeda is the mansion next door. It is larger than us, containing perhaps 1 trillion stars compared to our 200 to 400 billion. It is a magnificent spiral shining with a cool, elegant light. Andromeda is currently about 2.5 million light-years away from us. To a human, that distance sounds impossible. It sounds like we are completely separate, but in the scale of the universe, she is right next door, and and she is getting closer. For a long time, astronomers thought the universe was only expanding, meaning everything was moving away from everything else. But then they looked at the light coming from Andromeda. They realized that unlike most distant galaxies, Andromeda is not running away. She is rushing toward us. Due to the incredible pull of gravity between our two massive galaxies, we are falling toward each other. We are closing the gap at a speed of roughly 110 kilometers per second. That is nearly 400,000 kilometers per hour. Imagine a dance where the two partners start at opposite ends of a ballroom and slowly, steadily glide toward the center. The invisible hug of gravity. This attraction is a testament to the power of gravity. Gravity is often thought of as the force that makes an apple fall from a tree, but on this scale it is the sculptor of the universe. It is the hug that refuses to let go. Even though the space between galaxies is expanding, the gravity within our local group is strong enough to overcome that expansion. It is a victory of connection over separation. It ensures that we will not drift off into the darkness alone. It binds the Milky Way and Andromeda together in a destiny that was written the moment our galaxies formed. The Great Waltz. This brings us to the future of our neighborhood. It is a future that is both violent and incredibly romantic. In about 4 to 5 billion years, Andromeda will arrive. When we hear the word collision, we think of car crashes or explosions. We imagine stars smashing into each other. But galaxies are mostly empty space. The distances between individual stars are so vast that when the Milky Way and Andromeda finally meet, it is very unlikely that any two stars will actually hit each other. Instead, they will pass through one another. They will swing past, pulled back by gravity, and loop around again. It will be a slow, majestic waltz. The spiral arms of both galaxies will be stretched and pulled into long, beautiful tails of light. If you were a human standing on Earth 4 billion years from now, the night sky would look breathtaking. The band of the Milky Way would no longer be a simple stripe. It would be joined by the seemingly glowing core of Andromeda shining brighter than the full moon. The sky would be filled with the fire of new stars being born from the compression of gas clouds. Over hundreds of millions of years, the two distinct shapes will merge. The two central black holes will spiral together and eventually become one. The two spirals will settle down, losing their distinct arms, and form a single giant elliptical galaxy. Astronomers have already given this future galaxy a name. They call it Milkomeda, a connection across time. There is something deeply comforting about this knowledge. We often fear that the universe is cold and indifferent. Yet when we look at the local group, we see a story of belonging. We see that our galaxy has a history and a future that is tied to its neighbours. We are locked in a gravitational embrace that spans billions of years. It is a dance that happens in slow motion, far too slow for a human lifetime to witness, but real nonetheless. We are moving toward a union. We are not just inhabitants of a solar system or a single galaxy. We are citizens of a local group, participants in a grand cosmic gathering that keeps the darkness at bay. The dance continues strong and inevitable, a reminder that even in the vastness of space, nothing is truly alone. Imagine walking into a quiet, dark room that suddenly bursts into a symphony of colours. This is what it feels like to look deep into the cosmos. We are leaving the empty silence of the void and entering the grand art studios of the universe. These are the nebulae. In the vast darkness of space, there are giant clouds. These are not the fluffy white rain clouds we see on Earth. These are colossal clouds made of gas and dust stretching for trillions of miles. They are the nurseries of the universe. They are the places where stars are born. If the universe is a great story, these nebulae are the opening chapters where the characters, the stars, take their very first breath. The cosmic canvas. To understand a nebula, we must look at its colours. They are the most beautiful paintings in existence, created not by a human hand, but by the laws of nature. When we look at photos from our most powerful telescopes, we see glowing reds, deep violets, bright blues, and shimmering golds. These colours tell us a story. The deep red usually comes from hydrogen gas. When this gas is energized by nearby stars, it glows like a neon sign in a shop window. The blue often comes from oxygen, or simply from light scattering off the dust, much like how our sky looks blue during the day. Dark ribbons twist through these bright colours. These dark patches are dense lanes of dust blocking the light behind them. They look like shadows, but they are actually the building blocks of future worlds. The feeling here is one of overwhelming beauty. It is gentle and artistic. It reminds us that the universe is not just a cold, dark machine. It is vibrant. It is alive with creation. The pillars of creation. Among all these clouds, there is one famous structure that captures the imagination of everyone who sees it. It is called the Pillars of Creation, located inside the Eagle Nebula. Picture 3 giant towers of gas and dust standing tall against a background of starry light. They look like ancient stalagmites in a cave, or perhaps like the fingers of a giant hand reaching out. They are majestic and silent. These pillars are so large that our entire solar system, the Sun and all its planets, could fit inside one small bump on the side of a pillar. These pillars are being sculpted by light. Nearby, massive young stars are blasting out powerful winds and intense ultraviolet light. This energy washes over the pillars, slowly eroding them, stripping away the lighter gas and revealing the denser knots inside. It is a destructive process, but also a creative one. Inside those dense knots, protected from the harsh glare, new stars are forming. It is a perfect example of nature's duality. The same force that destroys the cloud is also uncovering the new life hidden within it. The birth of a star. How does a star actually begin? It starts with a gentle pull. Inside these dark, cold clouds of dust, gravity begins to work its magic. It starts with a small clump of dust and gas. Gravity pulls more dust toward it. As the clump gets bigger, its gravity gets stronger, pulling in even more material. It is like a snowball rolling down a hill, gathering more snow as it goes. As the dust collapses inward, it begins to spin. The center of this spinning ball gets tighter and tighter. The pressure rises. The temperature starts to climb. It gets hot, unimaginably hot. Deep inside the core, the atoms are squeezed together so tightly that they can no longer stay apart. Then the miracle happens. The temperature reaches millions of degrees. Hydrogen atoms smash into each other and fuse together to create helium. This process releases a burst of pure energy. This is the moment of ignition. A sudden light pierces the darkness. The collapse stops, pushed back by the outward force of this new energy. A balance is found. A star is born. There is a profound sense of hope in this moment. Out of cold, dead dust, a bright, shining beacon has emerged. It is a victory of light over darkness. This new star will shine for billions of years, providing warmth and light to anything that orbits it. The dance of life. Once a star is born, it enters the prime of its life. It shines steadily. Our sun is in this phase right now. It is a yellow dwarf star, burning its fuel with a steady, comforting rhythm. It is a patient provider, holding its planets in orbit and bathing them in energy. But stars, like living things, have a life cycle. They change as they age. Massive stars live fast and die young. They burn through their fuel with ferocious intensity, shining blue and white. Smaller stars, like red dwarfs, burn their fuel slowly and carefully, glowing with a dim red light that can last for trillions of years. Regardless of their size, every star is a factory. Inside their burning hearts, they are doing something incredibly important. They are creating elements. In the beginning, the universe was mostly just hydrogen and helium. But inside the stars, these simple elements are fused into heavier ones: carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron. The stars are the alchemists of the cosmos. They are forging the very things that make up the ground we walk on and the air we breathe. Returning to stardust. Eventually the fuel runs out. The fire begins to fade. The end of a star's life is just as beautiful and emotional as its birth. For a star like our sun, the end is gentle. It will puff up, shedding its outer layers into space like a flower releasing its petals into the wind. These layers form a glowing shell of gas called a planetary nebula. In the center, the old core of the star remains as a white dwarf, a small hot pearl, slowly cooling down over eons. The gas it released drifts away, rich with the new elements it created, ready to become part of a new cloud. For massive stars, the end is dramatic. When they run out of fuel, they do not fade away quietly. They collapse in a split second and then explode in a supernova. For a few weeks, one single dying star can outshine an entire galaxy. It is a violent, brilliant farewell. But this is not a sad ending, it is a necessary one. When a star dies, it scatters all the elements it created back into the universe. The carbon in our cells, the oxygen in our lungs, the iron in our blood, the calcium in our bones. All of these were forged inside a star that died long before the Earth was born. We are connected to these nebulae and these stars in the most intimate way possible. We are not just living in the universe, we are made of it. We are stardust that has come to life. The eternal cycle. So when we look at the pillars of creation, or the colourful swirls of the Orion Nebula, we are looking at our own history. We see the past where the materials for our world were gathered. We see the present where new suns are lighting up for the first time. And we see the future where the dust of old stars will eventually come together to create new worlds, new planets, and perhaps new life. The architects of light do not stop building. The cycle continues. Gravity pulls, dust gathers, heat rises, and light breaks through the darkness once again. It is a story of eternal recycling, a story of endless hope painted in the most magnificent colours across the canvas of the night. When you stand under the velvet dome of the night sky and look up, you are not just looking at space, Yabum. You are looking at a map of time. It is a common misconception that we see the universe as it is right now. We assume that when we glance at the moon or a distant twinkling star, we are seeing a live broadcast of the cosmos. But this is the greatest illusion of human perception. The night sky is not a picture of the present. It is a history book. It is a museum of memories suspended in the vast darkness, waiting for us to open our eyes and read them. Every single point of light above your head is a ghost and echo from a moment that has already passed. To look up is to look back. To understand why this happens, we must first understand the messenger that brings us the view of the universe, light itself. In our daily lives here on Earth, light seems instant. When you flip a switch, the room illuminates immediately. When you look at a friend standing across the room, you see them exactly as they are in that split second. The delay is so tiny that our brains cannot register it. But the universe is not a room. The universe is vast beyond our ability to truly comprehend, and on this scale, even light has its limits. Light is the fastest traveller in existence. It races through the emptiness of space at a speed that is almost impossible to imagine, roughly 300,000 kilometers every single second. It is a speed so fast that light could circle our entire world 7 times in the beat of a human heart. Because it is so fast, we often think of it as instantaneous, but it is not. It is finite. It takes time to travel from point A to point B, and because space is so enormous that travel time adds up, this brings us to one of the most beautiful and misunderstood concepts in astronomy, the light year. The name is confusing to many people. It sounds like a measure of time, like a calendar year, but a light year is actually a measure of distance. It is the distance that a beam of light can travel in one single year. If you could ride a beam of light for one full year moving at that incredible speed of 300,000 kilometers per second, you would cross about 9.5 trillion kilometers. That massive distance is one light year. It is the ruler we use to measure the heavens, a ruler made of time and speed. Because light takes time to travel, there is always a delay. When you look at the moon, you are not seeing the moon as it is this very second. You are seeing the moon as it was 1.3 seconds ago. That is how long it takes for the light to bounce off the lunar dust across the vacuum of space and hit your retina. It is a short delay, hardly noticeable. But as we look further, the delay grows. Consider the sun, the source of our life. It is roughly 150 million kilometers away. That is a long journey, even for light. It takes about 8 minutes for a photon of light to leave the surface of the sun and reach Earth. This means that if the sun were to suddenly vanish or go dark, we would not know about it for 8 minutes. We would still feel its warmth and see its light, unaware that the source was already gone. We are always living 8 minutes in the past relative to our own star. As we leave our solar system, the time gap stretches into years, then centuries, then eons. When you look at the brightest star in our night sky, Sirius, you are seeing light that left that star 8 years ago. You are seeing Sirius as it was when you were 8 years younger. If something happened to Sirius today, if it exploded or changed colour, we would not know for another 8 years. The news of the universe travels slowly, carried on the back of light beams across the silent ocean of space. This reality turns every telescope into a time machine. We do not need complex sci-fi technology to visit the past. We only need to look deeper into the dark. This creates a profound sense of nostalgia. When we look at the stars, we are connecting with different eras of history all at once. Look at the constellation of Orion. The bright red star at his shoulder is called Betelgeuse. It is a massive dying star. It is hundreds of light years away. The light you see from Betelgeuse tonight started its journey around the time of the Middle Ages on Earth. While that light was travelling through the silent void, kings and queens rose and fell, wars were fought, continents were discovered, and the Industrial Revolution changed the world. All that human history happened while that single stream of light was rushing toward us, carrying the image of a star that might not even look the same anymore. It gets even deeper. If you look at the Andromeda Galaxy, which appears as a faint smudge of light in a dark sky, you are looking back 2.5 million years. The light hitting your eyes tonight left that galaxy before modern humans even walked the Earth. That light began its journey when our ancestors were just beginning to use stone tools. It travelled across the empty gulf between galaxies for 2.5 million years, finally ending its journey in your eye. You are physically connecting with a time before civilization existed. This concept brings a strange and beautiful stillness to the universe. When we look up, we see a sky that appears frozen and unchanging. The stars seem fixed in their places, but this is an illusion caused by the vastness of space and the time it takes for light to reach us. We are watching a movie on a massive delay. Events that look peaceful to us might actually be violent explosions that happened millions of years ago, but the news hasn't reached us yet. There is a deep emotional weight to this. It suggests that nothing in the universe is ever truly lost. The light from the past is still out there travelling. If someone on a planet 65 million light years away had a telescope powerful enough to look at Earth right now, they would not see us. They would not see our cities or our cars. They would see the dinosaurs roaming the planet. The light from the age of the dinosaurs has passed us, but it is still travelling through the universe, carrying the image of that time. In a way, the past is alive, preserved in the packets of light streaming endlessly through the void. This makes the universe feel like a place of eternal memory. It is a place where time does not just disappear, it expands outward. Every moment that has ever happened is still rippling out into the cosmos in the form of light. The silence of the night sky is the silence of a library. It is quiet, but it is full of stories waiting to be told. This delay also creates a sense of loneliness, but a beautiful kind of loneliness. It reminds us that we are isolated by time as much as we are by distance. We can never have a real-time conversation with the galaxy. We can only receive letters from the past. We are always waiting for the mail to arrive. Yet there is comfort in this. It means that when we look at the sky, we are never looking at a blank slate. We are looking at a tapestry woven from the history of matter and energy. We are seeing the childhood of stars that are now old. We are seeing the ghosts of stars that have long since died. A star might have exploded 1,000 years ago, but if it is 2,000 light years away, we still see it shining brightly in our sky. To us it is alive. To the universe it is gone. We are viewing a phantom, a memory made of light that refuses to fade. This creates a feeling of suspended time. In the deep universe, time does not feel like the ticking clock we have on Earth. It feels like a thick, heavy ocean. It moves but slowly. The events of the cosmos play out over millions and billions of years. Compared to the frantic pace of human life, the universe is practically motionless. It is a realm of stillness where a single second can stretch across light years. When you sit in the dark and let your eyes adjust, try to feel the weight of that distance. Imagine the light beam that is touching your eye right now. Imagine its journey. It was born in the heart of a star squeezed out of the crushing nuclear fire. It fought its way to the surface of that star, which can take thousands of years. Then it broke free. It flew into the cold, empty blackness. It dodged dust clouds and planets. It flew past nebulae and comets. It travelled in a straight line for centuries, never stopping, never slowing down. It crossed the great silence. And finally, after all that time, it ended its journey on the pupil of your eye. You are the final destination of a traveller that has been moving since before you were born. This connection makes the observer you part of the cosmic history. You are not just watching the universe, you are interacting with it. By catching that light, you are completing its journey. You are the witnesses to the past. The stillness of time in the universe is also a reminder of our own fleeting nature. We live for such a short spark of time. Our lives are less than a blink of an eye to the stars, but through our ability to understand light and time, we can touch eternity. We can look back to the beginning of everything. We can see the faint glow of the very first galaxies forming after the Big Bang. We are small, but our vision is limitless. We can see the beginning of time itself. So the next time you feel rushed or stressed by the passing of time in your daily life, look up. Look at the stars and remember that you are looking into the deep past. You are looking at a place where time stretches out and slows down. You are looking at the history of everything written in light, silent and beautiful. The sky is a time capsule, and every night it opens up for us, inviting us to remember where we came from and to marvel at the vast ancient machinery of the cosmos. In the silence of the stars, time stands still, and for a moment so do we. The separation between now and then blurs in the darkness. In our minds, we divide time into past, present and future. But out there among the galaxies, those distinctions dissolve. Everything we see is the past presented to us in our present, affecting our future understanding. It is a continuous flow, a river of light that connects the ancient fires of creation to the living eyes of the observer. This perspective changes how we feel about the dark. It is not empty. It is heavy with time. The darkness between the stars is not just nothingness. It is the space where light is still travelling, carrying secrets that haven't reached us yet. It is a pregnant silence full of potential and full of history. The universe holds its breath, and in that long, slow exhale we find the light of stars that have burned for eons. We are time travellers. We do not need a machine of metal and electricity. We are time travellers simply by being creatures with eyes in a universe where light takes time to travel. We stand on the shore of Earth, looking out at the ocean of the past, watching the waves of history wash up on our celestial beach. It is a view that is at once humbling and empowering, filling us with a sense of the eternal and the quiet, enduring beauty of the light that refuses to die. As we pull our perspective back, leaving behind the swirling arms of individual galaxies and even the chaotic dance of galaxy clusters, the view changes dramatically. We are no longer looking at islands of light floating in a black ocean. Instead, we begin to see that the ocean itself has a shape. We have reached the scale of the cosmic web, the largest structure in the known universe. From this vantage point, the universe looks remarkably like a living thing. It does not look like random speckles of dust thrown against a wall. It looks organic. It resembles the complex network of neurons inside a human brain, or the intricate root system of a giant tree, or the delicate spongy interior of a bone. This is the grand design of the cosmos, a structure of breathtaking order emerging from the chaos of the Big Bang. The first thing you notice is that the universe is not evenly filled. It is composed of walls and knots of blinding light separated by terrifyingly vast regions of absolute nothingness. These empty spaces are called voids. They are giant spherical bubbles where almost no galaxies exist. Some of these voids are hundreds of millions of light years across. If you were deep inside one, the universe would appear almost completely black with no nearby stars to guide you. These voids act like the empty air inside a sponge, giving the universe its volume and shape. Surrounding these empty bubbles are the filaments. These are the largest bridges in existence. They are long, thread-like strands of matter that weave through the dark, connecting one supercluster of galaxies to another. These filaments are the highways of the cosmos. They are made of millions of galaxies strung together like pearls on a necklace, along with massive amounts of gas. Gravity is the architect here. Over billions of years, gravity has pulled matter out of the voids and compressed it into these thin, glowing streams and strands. Gas flows along these filaments like water flowing through a pipe, funneling fresh material into the dense knots where galaxies congregate. It is a system of transport and connection on a scale that is difficult for the human mind to comprehend. But what holds these filaments together? If we only look at the visible light, the stars and gas, there is not enough mass to keep these giant bridges from falling apart. This is where the invisible skeleton of the universe comes into play. The filaments are actually made mostly of dark matter. We cannot see this dark matter, but we know it is there because of its gravity. Think of the cosmic web like a spider web at night. You might not see the silk threads, but if morning dew collects on them, you see the glistening drops of water. In this analogy, the dark matter is the invisible silk, and the shining galaxies are just the water droplets clinging to it, revealing the hidden shape of the web. In this vast network, our home has a specific address. For a long time, we thought the Milky Way was part of a modest neighbourhood called the Virgo supercluster. But recent maps of the universe have revealed that the Virgo supercluster is actually just a tiny appendage, a mere suburb of something far grander. We live inside a colossus named Laniakea. The name is beautiful and fitting. It comes from the Hawaiian language meaning immeasurable heaven, or open skies. Laniakea is a supercluster of galaxies so large that it spans 500 million light-years. It contains the mass of 100,000 trillion suns. It encompasses our Milky Way, the Andromeda Galaxy, the Virgo cluster, and roughly 100,000 other galaxies. What makes Laniakea a single structure is not just its shape, but its movement. In the chaos of space, everything is moving. Usually the expansion of the universe pushes things apart, but inside Laniakea, gravity is winning. All the galaxies within this immeasurable heaven are flowing. They are drifting like leaves in a slow-moving river, all sliding toward a specific point. They are being pulled toward a mysterious region at the heart of Laniakea called the Great Attractor. We cannot see the Great Attractor clearly, because it is hidden behind the dust of our own galaxy, but we can feel its power. It is the gravitational downtown of our city, pulling thousands of galaxies toward it. This flow defines our home, just as water falling on a mountain divides into different watersheds, some flowing west, some flowing east. The universe has gravitational watersheds. Laniakea is our basin. Any galaxy inside this boundary is slowly sliding toward the same destiny. Seeing this structure brings a profound shift in emotion. When we looked at the solar system, we felt isolated. When we looked at the galaxy, we felt small. But looking at the cosmic web, the feeling changes to a sense of belonging. We are not just drifting randomly in the dark. We are part of a massive interconnected organism. There is a deep, comforting order here. The universe is not a messy, scattered explosion. It is a lattice, a web, a structure built with precision over 13 billion years. To see the cosmic web is to realize that we are woven into the very fabric of reality. We are tiny, yes, indistinguishable specks of light in a filament of a supercluster. But we are held. We are embraced by the gravity of Laniakea. We are connected by threads of light and dark matter to galaxies we will never visit, part of a grand architecture that stretches across the observable universe. It is a realization that blends humility with awe. We are microscopic residents of a glowing knot on a thin thread suspended over a void of nothingness. Yet even here in this silence there is connection. We are part of the flow, part of the great river of light, sliding together through the endless dark, unified by the invisible hands of gravity and time. We are leaving the crowded city centers of the universe. Behind us, the galaxies spin like bright pinwheels full of energy collisions and the birth of new stars. But our journey now takes us away from the heat and the light. We are heading toward the vast open spaces between the threads of the cosmic web. We are entering the great silence. Imagine you are a diver leaving the colourful busy coral reef and swimming out into the deep open blue of the ocean. At first it feels strange. You look back and see the safety of the lights fading away, but as you turn forward you realise that this open space is not scary. It is the ultimate sanctuary. These are the cosmic voids. To understand where we are, you must change your sense of scale. In the previous parts of our journey, we looked at stars that were close to each other. Here, the distance between things is almost impossible to comprehend. We are entering a region like the Boötes Void. This is a sphere of space so massive that if you were in the middle of it, you would not see any stars with your naked eye. You would see only perfect pitch black darkness in every direction. It would take light hundreds of millions of years just to cross this empty room. But do not be afraid of the dark. In this place, darkness is not a monster. It is a blanket. It is a soft velvet wrapping around you, offering a comfort that the bright stars cannot give. In the busy galaxies, gravity is always pulling. Stars pull on planets, black holes pull on gas, galaxies pull on each other. There is always a struggle, a dance of force acting upon you. But here in the deep void, gravity is weak. You're truly weightless. You're no longer being pulled in 1,000 directions. You're simply floating. This is the truest form of freedom. It is a sensation of total release where the muscles of the universe and your own spirit can finally unclench. Let us talk about the emptiness. Scientists used to think these voids were completely empty, true vacuums with nothing inside. We now know that is not entirely true, but it is close. In a busy room on Earth, there are billions of air molecules in a tiny box. In a galaxy, there is gas and dust. But here, you might find only one single atom in a space the size of a large room. It is rarefied and thin. Because there is almost no matter here, there is no sound. Of course, space is always silent to human ears, but in the galaxies there are shockwaves and vibrations moving through the gas. Here there is nothing to carry a vibration. It is the definition of stillness. It is a library where no book has ever been opened and no footstep has ever fallen. This silence is not just a lack of noise, it is a presence. It feels heavy and soothing like a weighted blanket. When you float here, your mind stops racing. In the bright world of stars, there is always something to look at, something to analyze, something to worry about. In the great silence, your eyes can rest. There is no visual input to process. The brain, realizing there is no danger and no stimulation, shifts into a state of deep rhythmic rest. It is a meditation that lasts for eons. You might wonder why these empty spaces exist. The universe is like a giant sponge or a honeycomb. The galaxies are the wax walls of the honeycomb, and the voids are the air pockets in between. Over billions of years, gravity has pulled matter together into strings and knots, leaving these vast areas behind. They are the exhales of the cosmos. If the galaxies are where the universe works and creates the voids are where the universe sleeps. There is a mystery here too. While there is very little normal matter, these voids are filled with something else, dark energy. This is the invisible power that is pushing the universe apart. In the crowded galaxies, gravity is strong enough to fight against dark energy. But here in the silence, dark energy is the ruler. It quietly, gently stretches the space, making the void bigger and bigger every second. It is a slow, smooth expansion. You are floating on a river that is widening, carrying you gently into the forever. As you drift in this darkness, you lose your sense of time. Time is usually measured by events, a sunrise, a heartbeat, a planet orbiting a star. Here there are no sunrises. There are no events. 1,000,000 years passes like a single second. This timelessness is incredibly peaceful. It reminds you that you do not always need to be rushing. You do not always need to be achieving or doing. Sometimes simply being is enough. The great silence teaches us about balance. We cannot have the light without the dark. We cannot have the music without the pauses between the notes. If the universe were nothing but bright hot stars packed together, it would be unbearable. It would be too loud, too hot, too chaotic. The universe needs these vast fields of emptiness to breathe. Feel the cool peace of it washing over you. It is a cold that does not freeze you, but rather refreshes you like the cool side of a pillow. It quiets the noise in your mind. The worries of the small world you came from seem insignificant here. In the face of this billion-year-old silence, your anxieties dissolve into nothingness. You are safe in the shadows. There is no radiation burning you here. There are no crashing asteroids. There is only the smooth, unbroken sea of night. Enjoy this suspension. Imagine you are lying on your back in a calm, dark lake looking up at nothing. Just pure, unadulterated peace. This is the deepest rest you will ever know. It is a recharge for your pickle. As we prepare to move on from this place, take a moment to absorb the silence. Let it fill your lungs and your heart. Carry this quiet with you. Know that even when life gets loud and bright and chaotic again, this place exists. The great silence is always here, holding the galaxies apart, waiting with its infinite patience, offering a place where nothing is asked of you, and where you can simply float in the perfect, peaceful dark. When we look up at the night sky, we are easily fooled by the lights. We see the brilliance of the stars, the glowing trails of the Milky Way, and the bright burning hearts of distant galaxies. We look at this glittering display and we think, this is the universe. We believe that what we see is all there is, but we are wrong. The light is a lie, or at least it is only a very small part of the truth. Imagine for a moment that you are looking at the ocean at night. You might see the white foam on top of the waves catching the moonlight. You might see the bioluminescence of tiny plankton glowing in the water. If you only looked at the light, you would think the ocean is just a scattering of foam and tiny glowing specks. You would miss the water itself. You would miss the millions of miles of deep, heavy, dark liquid that actually makes up the ocean. You would miss the thing that holds the life, the thing that creates the waves, the thing that is truly there. The universe is exactly like that night ocean. The stars, the planets, the gas clouds you meet, the chair you're sitting on, everything we can see and touch is just the foam. It is just the glowing plankton drifting on the surface. In the language of science, this is called normal matter, but there is nothing normal about it. It is rare. It makes up less than 5% of everything that exists. The other 95% is a dark, silent mystery. It is the invisible ocean that we float within. We call these two invisible giants dark matter and dark energy. They are the ghosts in our machine, the silent architects of our reality. Let us first speak of the skeleton, the dark matter. For a long time, astronomers were confused. They watched how galaxies spun around. Think of a merry-go-round on a playground. If you spin it too fast, the children hanging onto the edge will be thrown off. Gravity works the same way. The stars on the edges of galaxies are moving incredibly fast. By all the laws of physics that we know, they should be thrown out into deep space. The galaxies should fly apart. They should not be able to hold their shape, but they do. They hold together beautifully. It is as if an invisible hand is cupping the galaxy, holding the stars in place, refusing to let them go. This invisible hand is dark matter. We cannot see it. It does not give off light and it does not reflect light. If you held a lump of it in your hand, it would be invisible and it would pass right through your fingers like a ghost. But it has weight. It has gravity. It is the invisible scaffolding, the heavy steel skeleton hidden inside the walls of the universe. Without this dark skeleton, the beautiful structure of the universe would collapse. There would be no galaxies, no safe harbours for stars to form, and therefore no suns to warm planets like ours. We owe our existence to this shadow. It is a comforting thought in a way. We are being held. We are being cradled by something we cannot see, something that asks for no recognition, simply doing the work of keeping the world together. While dark matter pulls things together, its partner dark energy pushes things apart. If dark matter is the earth beneath our feet, dark energy is the wind blowing the sky open. When scientists first realized the universe was expanding, they thought gravity would eventually slow it down. They thought the universe was like a ball thrown into the air, eventually it should slow down and fall back. But when they measured the movement of distant supernovae, they found something shocking. The ball is not slowing down. It is speeding up. The universe is expanding faster and faster every second. Space itself is stretching. It is being pushed by a mysterious pressure that comes from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. This is dark energy. It makes up roughly 70% of the universe. It is the most powerful force in existence, yet we cannot feel it. It is like a vast silent tide swelling and rising, carrying the galaxies farther and farther apart from each other. Think of the universe as a great breathing lung and dark energy as the breath. It is the inhalation that never ends, expanding the chest of the cosmos, creating more space, more room, more possibility. It ensures that the universe does not collapse back in on itself in a fiery crunch. It promises us an open future, a horizon that is always getting wider. There is a profound beauty in this balance. It is a cosmic dance between the pull and the push. Dark matter is the anchor, dark energy is the current. Dark matter wants to hug everything close, to create structure, to build families of stars. Dark energy wants to be free to explore the void, to stretch out into infinity. We exist in the delicate, quiet space between these two desires. We are the children of this tension. It requires a certain kind of faith to study the universe. We have to believe in things that our eyes cannot verify. We have to look at the empty spaces between the stars and understand that they are not truly empty. They are full of power. They are full of the stuff that dictates our fate. This reminds us of our own lives here on Earth. So much of what matters to us is invisible. We cannot see love under a microscope. We cannot hold hope in a bucket. We cannot weigh trust on a scale. Yet these invisible things are the skeleton of our lives. They are what hold our families together when things spin too fast, just like dark matter holds the galaxies. They are what push us forward when we feel stuck, expanding our horizons just like dark energy expands the universe. We are creatures of the light living in a universe of darkness. But this darkness is not scary. It is not the darkness of a monster hiding under the bed. It is the darkness of the soil that holds the roots of a flower. It is the darkness of the womb that protects the child. It is a supportive, structural, necessary darkness. So when you stand under the stars tonight, do not just admire the light. Admire the spaces in between. Send your gratitude to the invisible ocean. Feel the gravity of the dark matter holding you safe, and feel the expansion of the dark energy giving you room to breathe. We are small islands floating in a magnificent invisible sea, and even though we cannot see the water, we can trust that it is there carrying us through the silence of eternity. If you listen very closely to the silence of the universe, you will find that it is not truly silent. If you look at the darkest patches of the night sky where there seem to be no stars and no galaxies, you will find that it is not truly dark. There is a faint hum, a whisper of energy that fills every single inch of space. It is a ghost, a memory imprinted on the very fabric of reality. This is the echo of the beginning. To understand this echo, we must cast our minds back to a time long before the Earth, before the sun, and even before the first stars ignited in the velvet void. We must return to the aftermath of the Big Bang. In those first moments, the universe was not the spacious, cold expanse we know today. It was unimaginably hot and incredibly dense. It was a churning sea of energy and particles so thick that even light could not move through it. Photons, the particles of light, were trapped, bouncing endlessly off charged particles like bumper cars in a crowded room. The universe was a glowing, opaque fog. For hundreds of thousands of years, this fog persisted. But as the universe expanded, it began to cool. This is the fundamental rule of our cosmos: expansion brings cooling. When the temperature dropped just enough, a profound change occurred. The charged particles combined to form neutral atoms. Suddenly the fog cleared. The trap was opened. For the first time in history, light was free to travel. It burst forth in every direction, a blinding flash of brilliance filling the entire cosmos. That ancient light is still with us today. However, it no longer looks like the blinding flash it once was. Over billions of years, as the universe has continued to stretch and grow, the fabric of space itself has expanded. Space stretched. It pulled that ancient light along with it, stretching the waves of light like a rubber band. What began as high-energy visible light has been stretched into longer, lower-energy waves. Today it exists as microwaves. We call this the cosmic microwave background. It is a bath of radiation that wraps around us the oldest light in the universe. It is interesting to think that if you turn on an old television set to a channel between stations, a small percentage of that static or snow dancing on the screen is actually interference caused by this ancient light. You are literally watching the afterglow of the Big Bang, a signal sent from 13.8 billion years ago finally hitting your screen. This background radiation tells us a story of cooling. It serves as a reminder that the universe is a dynamic, changing thing. It began in fire, but it is moving toward ice. The cosmos is slowly, inevitably spending its energy. This brings us to a contemplation of the future, a vision that is both melancholic and deeply peaceful. Just as a fire eventually burns through all its wood, the universe will eventually process all its fuel. We live in a unique and precious era, the era of starlight. We are lucky to be alive when the universe is bright, filled with burning suns and swirling galaxies, but this era will not last forever. In the very distant future, billions and even trillions of years from now, the formation of new stars will begin to slow down. The immense clouds of gas and dust that serve as stellar nurseries will be exhausted. One by one, the lights will go out. The massive bright blue stars will die, first exploding in supernovae. The yellow stars, like our own sun, will swell and then shrink into white dwarfs, slowly fading like cooling embers. The last survivors will be the red dwarfs, small and efficient stars that burn their fuel so slowly they can live for trillions of years. But even they are mortal. Eventually the last red dwarf will flicker and fade. When it does, the universe will enter a new age, the era of generate remnants. The cosmos will be populated only by the corpses of stars, black holes, neutron stars, and white dwarfs. It will be a dark place, illuminated only by the faint dying glow of these remnants. But the story continues. Over unimaginable stretches of time, even these remnants will vanish. White dwarfs will cool until they become black dwarfs, cold stones floating in the dark. Black holes. The most powerful objects in nature will not rule forever. Through a process known as Hawking radiation, they will slowly leak energy, evaporating particle by particle over eons until they too disappear in a final puff of energy. This leads to the ultimate fate of the cosmos, often called the heat death, or the big freeze. It is not a violent end, but a quiet one. It is the state where the universe reaches maximum entropy. In this state, everything is the same temperature. There is no flow of energy, no heat moving to cold, no movement, and no life. The universe will become a vast, empty, and timeless void. While this might sound frightening to our human minds, which crave activity and life, there is a certain beauty in this stillness. It is the ultimate equilibrium. The universe, having expended all its passion and fury, having birthed galaxies and nurtured life, finally lays down to rest. It is a return to the peace that perhaps existed before the noise of creation began. The existence of the cosmic microwave background is the first chapter of this story, and the cooling of the stars is the middle. The dark, quiet future is the ending. It teaches us that everything is temporary. The stars are not permanent fixtures, they are brief candles burning against the dark. This realization does not make our existence meaningless, rather, it makes it infinitely more precious. We are the universe experiencing itself while it is still warm, while it is still awake. We are the brief, beautiful dream of the cosmos before it enters its eternal sleep. The cooling is not a tragedy. It is simply the natural exhalation of a breath that was taken long ago. And in that long, slow fade into the dark, there is no pain, only a settling silence, a rightful and gentle conclusion to the grandest story ever told. Look at your hand. Please truly take a moment to look at it. Turn it over and look at your palm. Wiggle your fingers. Look at the lines on your skin. Feel the warmth of your own touch. For the last few parts of our journey, we have travelled to the edge of the visible universe. We have looked at massive black holes and galaxies far away. We have felt very small, but now I want you to come back home. I want you to come back to right here, right now. I want you to come back to your own body, because the most amazing thing in the universe is not out there. It is right here. It is you. Have you ever wondered what you are actually made of? If we were to break you down into your smallest parts, what would we find? We would find cells, of course. And inside those cells, we would find molecules like water and proteins. And if we went deeper, we would find atoms. You are a collection of atoms. You are made of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, calcium, phosphorus, and iron. But here is the great mystery. Where did those atoms come from? When the universe began in the Big Bang, it was very simple. It only made the lightest gases. It made hydrogen and helium. That was it. There was no carbon to make your muscles. There was no calcium to make your bones. There was no oxygen to fill your lungs. For a long time, the universe was just gas, but then gravity began to pull that gas together. It squeezed the gas tighter and tighter until it became hot. It ignited. The first stars were born. A star is not just a ball of light. A star is a factory. It is a giant kitchen. Inside the center of a star, the heat and pressure are so intense that atoms are smashed together. They fuse. This is called nuclear fusion. Think of the star as a cosmic chef. It takes the simple hydrogen atoms and cooks them. It smashes them together to make helium. Then it smashes the helium to make carbon, then oxygen, then nitrogen. All the ingredients that make life possible. The carbon in the apple you first ate for lunch, the nitrogen in your DNA, the oxygen entering your nose right now were cooked inside the fiery hearts of stars that lived long before the Earth was born. But the story does not end there. If those elements stayed inside the star, they would be locked away forever. They would be useless. We need a way to get them out. This happens when a massive star dies. When a giant star runs out of fuel, it can no longer hold itself up against gravity. It collapses inward in a fraction of a second and then explodes. This is a supernova. It is one of the most violent and powerful events in nature, but it is also the most creative event. In that explosion, the star rips itself apart. It blasts all those precious elements, the carbon, the oxygen, the calcium, out into the dark emptiness of space. It scatters its ashes across the galaxy. These clouds of dust and gas float for millions of years. Eventually, gravity pulls them together again. A new solar system forms, a new sun, and around it planets. And on one of those planets, Earth, that dust organized itself. It became rock, became water, it became microbes, it became plants, and eventually it became you. So when I say we are stardust, it is not just poetry. It is not a metaphor. It is a literal scientific fact. Touch your chest, feel your ribs. Your bones are strong because they have calcium. That calcium was created in the red-hot death of a massive star. Take a deep breath. That oxygen is feeding your brain. That oxygen was forged in a star that exploded billions of years ago. Look at the veins in your wrist. Your blood is red because it contains iron. Iron is special. Iron is the last element a star creates before it dies. It is the heaviest thing a star can make. When a star makes iron, it is about to explode. Every time your heart beats, it pumps stellar material through your body. You have the final moments of a dying star flowing through your veins. You are a graveyard of stars, but you are also their second life. This changes how we look at the night sky, doesn't it? When you look up at the stars tonight, you are not looking at something foreign. You are not looking at strangers. You are looking at your ancestors. You are looking at the place of your birth. This connection makes us feel less lonely. Sometimes living on Earth can feel isolating. We feel small. We feel separate from nature. We think of the universe as out there or cold and distant. But there is no separation. You are not in the universe. You are of the universe. You are a piece of the universe that has come alive. Think about how beautiful that is. For billions of years, the universe was just swirling gas and rock. It was blind, it was silent, it could not think, it could not feel, it could not love. But then through the death of stars and the birth of you, the universe grew eyes, it grew ears, it grew a heart. You are the way the universe knows itself. Through your eyes, the cosmos sees its own beauty. Through your mind, the cosmos wonders about its own beginning. Through your heart, the cosmos feels love. You are the universe waking up, so do not ever feel that you do not belong here. You belong here more than anything else. You are the child of the cosmos. You're made of the same stuff as the galaxies. This reality should make us feel precious. It took billions of years, thousands of generations of stars living and dying just to create the materials for your body. The odds of you existing exactly as you are right now are impossible to calculate. You are a miracle of physics and time. Let that feeling settle in your chest. Let it feel like a warm light. You are connected to the trees outside because they are breathing the same carbon. You're connected to the dirt on the ground. You're connected to the person sitting next to you. You're connected to the cat sleeping on the sofa. You're connected to the most distant star in the sky. It is all the same dust, it is just arranged differently. We are all wandering stardust trying to find our way. And because we are all made of the same stardust, we are all family. So hold your head high. You carry the legacy of the stars in your skin, your teeth, and your blood. You are ancient. You are galactic. and you are beautiful. You have travelled so far, you have floated through the endless velvet dark of the deep universe. You have seen the birth of stars and the quiet swirl of ancient galaxies, but now the journey outward is complete. It is time to turn back. It is time to drift home. Imagine yourself turning gently in the weightless void. You are not rushing. There is no speed here, only a smooth, effortless gliding. You leave the deep, unknown reaches of space behind you. You carry the silence of that vast emptiness with you tucked safely inside your heart. It is a heavy, comforting silence. It feels like a thick, warm blanket that you have wrapped around your shoulders. You begin to glide toward a familiar light. Far in the distance, you see a single star shining steadily and warmly. It is the sun. It looks small from here, just a golden spark in the darkness, but you know its warmth. You know its gravity. It pulls you gently, like a mother pulling a blanket over a sleeping child. You surrender to this pull. You let yourself drift. As you float closer, the vastness of the universe begins to narrow. You are entering the quiet neighborhood of our solar system. It is peaceful here. You drift past the outer giants, the silent planets that stand guard at the edges. You glide past Neptune, a sphere of deep, cool blue. It spins slowly, whispering a hush into the darkness. You pass Uranus, pale and still. There is no sound here. There is no wind that you can feel, just the perfect, absolute stillness of space. You drift further inward. You see the magnificent rings of Saturn. They are wide and flat, made of millions of shards of ice and rock dancing in a slow, eternal circle. They look like a painting frozen in time. You watch them pass beneath you. The motion is hypnotic. Round and round they go, rhythmic and steady. Watching them makes your eyelids feel heavy. The rhythm of the rings matches the slow, deep rhythm of your breathing. In and out, slow and steady. You pass the giant Jupiter the Protector. Its great storms are just swirls of colour from this distance painted in bands of cream and rust. It feels solid and safe. You are safe here. Nothing can touch you. You're just a traveller and observer drifting silently through the night. And then you see it, floating in the darkness like a precious jewel, the Earth. It is so beautiful. A marble of swirling blue and white glowing softly against the black curtain of space. It looks peaceful from up here. There are no borders, no noise, no rush. Just the blue of the oceans, the brown and green of the land, and the white clouds drifting lazily over the surface. This is your home. This is where you belong. You feel a sense of deep relief washing over you. A feeling of returning to where you're meant to be. You glide closer and the Earth grows larger in your vision. You can see the curve of the horizon glowing with a faint blue light where the atmosphere meets the emptiness of space. You drift toward that blue light. You are sinking down now, gently, slowly. You pass through the thin layer of the atmosphere. It feels like slipping into a warm bath. The cold of space is gone. You are wrapped in the protective air of your home planet. You float down through the soft white clouds. They part for you, misting around you like a dream. Below the clouds, the world is asleep. You see the land stretching out below. It is nighttime. The cities and towns are just clusters of golden lights twinkling like stars that have fallen to the ground. They are quiet now. The busy day is over. The world has slowed down. Everyone is resting. Everything is still. You drift over the sleeping continent. You find your country. You find your city. You float lower and lower, lighter than a feather. You see the streets empty and calm. You see the trees standing still in the moonlight. You see the roof of your building. You pass through it as if it were mist. You are returning to your physical space. You drift into your room. It is dark and cool. Everything is exactly where you left it. The shadows are soft and familiar. There is a profound sense of safety here. This is your sanctuary. The outside world cannot reach you here. The vastness of space is far away, but the peace you found there is right here in the room with you. You hover for a moment over your bed. You see yourself resting there. You lower yourself down, sinking gently back into your body. As you settle back into your physical form, you feel the weight of it. It is a good weight, a heavy grounding weight. You feel your head sinking into the soft pillow. It feels so supportive, cradling your neck and head. You feel your shoulders drop away from your ears, releasing all tension. You feel your back sinking into the mattress, every muscle letting go. You feel your legs becoming heavy like sinking stones. Your arms are heavy and limp at your sides. Your body is no longer floating in space, but your mind is still free. You have brought the quiet of the cosmos back with you. Your mind is as clear and empty as the void between the stars. There are no thoughts here, no worries, no lists of things to do. All of that is gone. It has drifted away into the darkness. All that is left is the rhythm of your breath. It is slow, it is deep, it rises and falls like the tides of the ocean. It rises and falls like the orbit of a planet. You are safe in your bed. The walls of your room protect you. The roof protects you. The atmosphere of the earth protects you. The gravity of the sun protects you. You are held. You are supported. You are deeply, deeply relaxed. The heaviness in your eyelids is overpowering now. They are sealed shut. It would be too difficult to open them, and you do not want to. You only want to sink deeper into the dark velvet warmth of sleep. Imagine the colour black. Not a scary black, but a comforting soft black, like the space you just travelled through. Let that colour fill your mind, let it wash over you. It is the colour of rest. It is the colour of restoration. You are drifting away again, but this time you are drifting into the world of dreams, or perhaps into a space of perfect dreamless nothingness, a place where you can truly recharge. The journey is over, you are home, you are heavy, you are warm. Everything is slow, everything is soft, everything is silent. Let go of the last bit of holding on. Let your jaw relax. Let your fingers uncurl. Let your toes relax. Sink down, down through the mattress, down through the floor, down into the deep warm earth. Sleep is here. It is pulling you under gentle and kind. Good night, traveller. The stars will watch over you while you sleep. The universe is humming a lullaby just for you. Deep silence, deep peace, deep sleep. Good night.